Hey there, so today we are returning to that wonderful world of anime, and today we're going to return once more to Ron Toye. Why? Because this is fun. This is actually interesting to watch play out, because we know something is about to land. We know that this is going to be something big. We have seen the signs. We have seen them all, and I talked about that in another video. Now, I like the way that Ron spins this here, however, so I want to talk about that with you. Before we begin, however, if you like this kind of content, if you say to yourself, that umbrella guy, I love what you do, I love your channel, well, first of all, thank you. Second of all, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell for daily notifications. And if you want to go further, well, there are links in the description. Now, one of those things, of course, is this comic book. Launched a few days ago, The Case of the Littlest Umbrella, all ages Lovecraftian experience wherein you can go out, you can enjoy this, and of course, you don't have to pay any gatekeepers out there in the industry homage. Now, I put this out, and man, if you have been keeping up with things that have been transpiring for the last, say, 5 to 6 days, it has been absolutely insane. Honestly, it's like standing in the middle of a surreal experience that I cannot believe is transpiring. But if you want to go out and you want to say no thanks to the other things, you want to say, hey, I like this, back this. And also there is another comic book that comes with another tier there. You can check out artwork and on. Very good thing. But again, check those out if you want to help the channel out. Now, returning to Ron here. So Ron, people were asking him the other day what he thought about this. And I did a video on the internet bravado talking about his responses. I've always found these responses really telling too, because you can see people go out and they flex and they flex, showcasing who they supposedly are, what exactly they bring to the proverbial table. And meanwhile, when you look at it, and you look through and beyond the rhetoric, you can see how hollow it is. That's one of the things that I find really telling. In this exchange I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you some stuff that comes after it, because essentially what Ron is telling people here, all of the statements that he put out, number one, he had to do that. All 400 that were requested, he has to go out and quote-unquote defend himself and her against lies and slander, because the truth will set you free. Also, those things, they're not really about Vic, hardly. When we go out, that's been misconstrued. You don't really know? I mean, come on, people. But anyway, let's hear it from him. So he starts off, I did hire an attorney, and I don't have to be silent, especially when people are continually lying and threatening me and my family. I don't have to prove a thing to you, but Ty knows who my attorney is. Somebody asks him after that. But what about all those statements they have on you? I believe they have at least 400 of them. Now think about that number too. I mean, you are talking about quite a few tweets. In fact, we have a certain internet shield that we talk about from time to time. That person on one of their normal days will put out 130 to 160 tweets. It would take a person at that level of insanity, a few days to put these out. So Ron here, I figure, even if he was going off, I mean, it had to take a little while yet. 400 tweets. But that doesn't matter anymore. They continue. The fans and people now get to see the truth. So Ron says, I have had to respond to people threatening me or calling me a liar. They are ridiculous. And when and if we ever go to court, that will be shown how idiotic they are. So, you're back to the idea that you're never going to go to court. I do wonder when I see this, as I've noted many times, I always like bringing up screenshots for that. I wonder if this is a statement about settling outside of the courtroom, saying, hey, I don't plan on going to court, because when everything comes out, when the chips are down and basically we talk about it, I'm going to end up settling. Or is this more bravado? I mean, is this the guy thinking, hey, I'm not going to have to do anything at all? Now, it's interesting to continue with this, and I'm going to show you a few things after that. So let's continue a few things here. People call you a liar because you've been caught lying over and over again. Both your ethics complaint to Nick and Ty were filled with lies. And I'm fairly sure you also took on Nick's GFO, calling it a scam, etc. And guess what? That's another lie. And that's actually true. He did call that a scam. He went out and said, that GoFundMe there, that was basically something that, number one, he would never engage in, because when you're brigaded against like that, you shouldn't ask other people for money. And also, he went out and he basically not only went after the project, but he went after Nick himself. Tell me one of those things I've addressed in my complaint that was a lie. Don't worry, I will wait. One of the things that was funny in your complaint, I have to say, is the fact that you whinged and whined about, he called me a cook. He called me Miss Beta. Literally, can you imagine writing a place and complaining about, oh my God, he's calling me Mr. Beta, Mr. Toye. You also have encouraged other people to write complaints over the most ridiculous nonsense. Sweet cheeks, for example. Nick calling someone sweet cheeks. Well, got to destroy his occupation. Moreover, it's not just the statements out there. I don't actually know if anybody has looked at your likes and whether or not that's actually applicable when you get into a courtroom setting. However, some of the people that you have spurred on with this stuff, that the likes that you have thrown out there, showcase quite a bit. What they say there is that you were telling people to go out and to basically to attack on different levels. You've been telling people, of course, that you back, that's what you're saying with continual likes, not one, but dozens on the same subject. You back the idea that Vic is a P to the E to the D to the O. You back the idea that he should be removed from cons while also paying lip service to the fact that he should be allowed to make money. You also back the idea that Vic, he basically encourages dangerous fans. All of this stuff that, of course, your own tweets. I mean, when you're not going out and telling people, I don't give a rat F what you think of me, and yes, go ask your effing mom what she thinks of your opinion. I believe he was telling that to somebody that basically endured tragedy with their mom, but hey, that got in the way too. Oopsie, not only was that callous, but yeah, not the best optic. Here too, we have him flagging in. Vic, if you don't get in here and tell people to back the F off Monica, we're going to have a problem. We will be forced to take you to court. Wow, how that narrative has changed, right? How it has changed, indeed. I'm tired of this, and you know what you have done to all these women. Now, you look at that statement there. He told us, a lot of the stuff he threw out there, it didn't have anything to do with Vic. That was part of his statement, but yeah, that's right about Vic, huh? Silence is not consent, MFer, your choice. I mean, you see this, like I say, amidst, the challenges and the rudeness and the internet bravado. I mean, if you go out and you look up some of the stuff he said, just keywording. I keyworded the word assault, for example. And when you go in and you look at that, I mean, when you look at all of the stuff that he has thrown out there, it's quite insane. I mean, when you see all of the different things that have been thrown out there, yeah, it's like I said, it's quite insane. It's a hard spot to be in. I don't think people should harass him. I confronted him a few times online when I found out about Monica's assault. I was pissed, but fans deserve better. And if I was rude, then you can see him talking about his assault there. Also, why should people have gone to the cops? Well, that's because, what's the rationale? Explain how you rationally dealt with it. You mean going to the cops. Is that rational? If it was something crazy like R to the A to the P to the E, yes, cops. But assault, no. But when you find out a ton of your friends have the same thing happen to them, now cops are on the table. So you're telling me that a guy goes out and taking the narrative there, You go up to dude's room, sitting around watching TV. There was a kiss exchanged. Even if you go with that being an awkward kiss, that involves the cops. Got you there. Or if we talk about the hair pulling, that seems to be the thing that all of these folks love going to. The hair pulling. That's where all of their friends had this same experience. You're going to tell me that a guy basically putting his hand in your hair and you saying pull the neck back and said something in the ear, years ago, that's going to bring the cops back onto the table? Yeah, I don't really think so. I don't think that works that out at all. Here's so many of these things too. And that's what's so frustrating in an assault case. Imagine if your girlfriend was assaulted, she tells you a story, then shares the story online to support others who came forward and were being called liars. How would you handle it? Well, I know that if my company were investigating this and are told that I was in the middle of an investigation per IO9, what they were talking about. And I know if I were going out and trying to make things different, make a different outcome, which she herself said, yeah, I probably would have approached things in a different manner. But then again, brigading, that seems to be part of the course. What I've been learning from my own experiences and beyond is that brigading is rewarded by terrible human beings, and that seems to be par for the course. Again and again, you see this come up. You see the claims there. What he did to Monica was assault. What he did to 3 of my friends was assault. And now I know of additional accounts of assaults spread out over 30 years. Like I said, you see this kind of stuff and just one word. But he tells you, of course, all of this stuff. He barely ever talked about Vic. When I think about the 400 tweets that are mentioned there, I'm thinking that's probably a lowball estimate, and it's just there to make a point. A lot of this stuff, still assault. Unwanted hugs and kisses are assault. Going out, of course, not even talking about Vic and Monica in this, it's still assault. He's basically even commenting on things that are out of his control there. Sure, he loves to go out and to talk about prove Vic didn't assault her, prove this and prove that. And it's quite insane. It is quite insane to see come up. And again, look how many times he uses just this one word. I'm trying not to fly through it too quickly, because if I fly through it, basically it blurs through. But you can see just one word out there. One word. It's also funny, of course, that he's trying to give a lawyer, an education on the law, because law explaining 101, that's what you should do on Twitter. And these people wonder how they end up in the midst of litigation. Then again, when you see this kind of stuff come up, you see all the time, like a lot of the statements that are thrown out there, and, no direct apology to Monica. When he makes a statement, or any other survivors, just general comments. And if people respect his wishes, why are people still attacking? If you respect Vic out there, then you'll do this. You have to do exactly what's said in here, because if you don't, well, we throw out this certain standard, and we can go out and brigade. But Vic said. That's why I always like going with the word due process, because these folks, they don't get to set the standard. They don't get to claim what's there. Moreover, when they're going out with this next sentence, I think we give the fans what they want, a court battle, and let's see who walks away, a registered sexual offender. Yeah, but barely anything about Vic in there. Like I say, you see all of these comments, you see all of the ugliness and all of the hatred that you notice in here, all of that stuff. Yeah. And of course, it does indeed roll into the I want to settle out of court if I've got a lawyer, for afterwards. But when I see that, yeah. But then again, these are the folks that tell you freedom of speech, of course, does not equal freedom from consequences. Before you choose to quote unquote harass me, please be aware that I have an attorney and law enforcement involved. Now, of course, there was an attorney then. All of the stuff they were saying was just threats and rhetoric because they didn't have one. They told you that themselves. They picked up one later on. I do find that very interesting, however, how they define harassment. Are there people out there that are ugly and nasty about things? Sure. There are plenty of people out there like that. But everyone that comments, they aren't harassing. And keeping a watch list, wow, that was definitely an interesting thing to say to fandom. We are taking all threats or harassment very seriously. All harassment and threats will be forwarded on. Now, of course, you have Ron sharing the wrong thing out there, basically showing you anti-bullying laws and policies that don't apply to the setting that they're talking about. And then, when you're going through and you look at all of these statements here, you also catch the idea that harassment is anything that annoys these folks. Anything that annoys at all. That is considered harassment to them. Meanwhile, of course, they think that everything they've done online, everything that they go out and they say, when they're going out here and brigading, all 400 of those tweets there, they were okay. Harassment is anything that annoys or tries to intimidate, unless I'm doing it. In the end, well, I'm barely talking about you, so what does that matter? Anyhow, you tell me what you think about this stuff and really the way that Ron is handling this. Now, again, as I said, if you like this kind of content, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell for daily notifications. And there are links in the description, different ways to support the channel. That, of course, as I said, includes this. And, if you want to check that out, I would definitely appreciate that. That's something, I worked hard for. And there are a lot of people connected to that are good people. And also, this sends a message. What message does it send? Well, we can do our own thing, and these people out there, they can't keep us out of industry. And also, I'd like to know your comments on things, pro or con. If you've got an idea on something, you agree or disagree, that's fine. Leave it out there. And of course, I want to end by saying something that these people have left by the wayside long ago. I want to say that I appreciate you. They forget who empowers endeavors. They attack, they go out, and they do some of the worst things. They've gone out, block-botted and on. Some of these people, they basically treat fans like dirt, thinking that all of that stuff, it doesn't hurt the back end. I don't want to basically hurt any endeavor, and, well, I don't want this mindset. That's why I don't record this at the end, because I always want to say it to myself, to remind myself. I don't want something canned. I want to say that I do appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up here every time, and we'll do it again soon. So thank you.